Hey guys, I'm so sorry this video is a few days late. I wanted to get it out with at least 24 hours left for ratings to help spotlight the games on the list that I felt didn't get as much ratings as others, but I just ended up having a crazy busy weekend of moving and couldn't squeeze this video in. But I not only made a game for this year's GMTK Jan, which was Polyhedra Pummeling, link is below, I also played your games live on stream. Thanks to everybody who stopped by at twitch.tv/Hudgen. I played about 74 games and chose my favorites in this video. Please don't take these rankings too seriously since they are based on how much I personally enjoyed the game and not any specific criteria. Without further ado, here are my top 10 games with 3 honorable mentions. Starting us off is A Dicey Situation, which had a very Toho take on the theme. What I loved was the squishing of the rectangle, which gives you extra breathing room in between bullets, making it not only more forgiving but also more fun. Shout out to the devs for being able to make something this polished in 48 hours. Dice Aspect doesn't look like the most polished card game in the world, as there were some really beautiful card games I played in the jam thus far, but this one definitely stuck out, mostly because the mechanics and strategy go very deep in this game. The rules are kind of hard to follow at first and you have to keep referencing what aspects are, but once you get past that, it becomes a game that really forces you to think and strategize ahead. I was kind of confused as to how a card game for a jam had such depth to it already. And when I spoke with the dev, Bluish Green Productions, he explained that as someone who played the likes of Slay the Spire, Hearthstone, and Yu-Gi-Oh!, an idea for a card game like this had been on his mind for quite a while, and the theme for this jam happened to fit perfectly. First honorable mention is Dice Mage. It may not be all the way perfect presentation-wise, but the concentrate mechanic does such a good job at fixing a common problem I saw with the theme, which was that a lot of the times games had too much randomness to be fun. What Dice Mage cleverly does here is make the randomness of rolling dice more controllable to the player with a slow-mo. I think it's an awesome mechanic that is definitely reminiscent of Breath of the Wild. I feel like there could be so much more fleshed out with this kind of idea, so very curious for what the devs' post-jam plans are. In this dating sim, you are stuck before heading towards the great beyond because you must find a date. The graphics are beautiful, as are the 2D character portraits, and the Mad Libs dice mechanic is also pretty enjoyable. The writing, however, is done in such a fun way. Each character is outstandingly unique and memorable, which is really at the heart of this game. I got the ending with Shade, but the dev revealed to me that there is also a secret 5th ending. So give this game a try and let me know which ending you get in the comments. In this relaxing puzzle game, you have to add the faces of the die to the desired number. But less is more here because I absolutely love that they only make the front 3 sides of the die choosable, and the other sides aren't even options. One of the many pain points of many dice puzzles in this jam was not being able to see all sides of the die, which made it feel like you were guessing most of the time. Some games did try to remedy this in different ways, like putting a reference die at the bottom of the screen, but I think this game did it best. Astronaut is a charming platformer where you're in search of your spaceship, but you need to upgrade some dice if you want to climb higher to find it. One of the problems with platformers is that it can be really hard to refine movement well enough so that it feels good to the player. The controls here, however, were never frustrating in any way. Things like wall jumping felt completely natural and fun. All in the Dice had a refreshing take on the theme with really clever puzzles that required the solutions to be well executed. It's also another example of less is more. They made it easy to go through numbers 1 through 6 by sequential order, instead of just making it quote-unquote random like a real die, which was quite common in this jam. The next honorable mention is the platformer Dicey Deeds. You literally roll dice to use as platforms, but the trick is you can ride them while they roll around or wait till they stop moving. Riding on top of the dice is incredibly fun to platform off of, and it's a great example of following the fun. As the dev mentioned, it was completely unintentional at first, but ended up leaving it in there when playtesters enjoyed it. There were a handful of games I played that were so polished already I felt like they could be released as is. But Sushi Dego stood out with its unique dual design platforming. Placing platforms gives you a path to increase your high score, but you can also place them strategically to protect you from incoming chopsticks or knives. Juggling these two things made for fun gameplay in this arcade-like entry. I'm a big fan of platformers, and Dicer is no different. Gaining jumps based on the number of the die is not only incredibly fun, but also has a certain depth to it mechanically. I had so much fun with the first few levels and this jam version, and I would love to see it fleshed out more. I almost feel that if executed right, it could be the kind of platformer that fills the void in my heart left from finishing Celeste. Soku Squid gives Baba Is You vibes, and that's a very high compliment. It does so many things right in terms of puzzle mechanics, while the puzzles themselves are well-designed aha moments. I love this entry and honestly would have kept playing if there were more levels. Hope the devs do end up adding more content in some way. Our final honorable mention is The Eternal Wait. The immersive storytelling in this entry was really compelling. I was so intrigued by the premise and the eerie surroundings, and it's such a great example of environmental storytelling. Even just setting the emotional tone for the game was executed so well. My only caveat here is that I really wish the ending was different. I'm not going to do any spoilers, but I will say that I was left without words. Interpret that how you will, but see for yourself and give this game a try. Last but not least, we have at the top of my list, Diminution by GMTK Games. One of my favorite videos by Mark Brown is Danwell's dual purpose design, where he talks about the idea of getting the most out of a mechanic by giving it multiple purposes. In Danwell, almost every part of the game is doing 2 or 3 things at once, and I think the GMTK team really took this to heart because Diminution is also a great example of the same exact idea.
I'm personally obsessed with dual purpose design and the fact that oh, you do this, but it also could also do this, and I know Mark talks about that a lot.
Yeah, for sure. Shooting not only kills enemies but also places platforms, which also can be timed to what number you want the die to land on. Standing on top of a platform not only protects you from the ever-rising acid, but also gives you limited ammo. There's so many moving parts in this game, it feels good to play, and it's also just really fun. Hats off to GMTK Games, excited to see what you guys will do next. Thank you guys so much for watching. Again, I'm really upset that I couldn't get this video out sooner to help spotlight games, but I hope this helps the devs regardless. I was just blown away by the creativity and the quality of the games I played, but also congrats to everyone who's able to just actually finish a game, which is not an easy thing to do. Anyways, I had a lot of fun with this jam and can't wait for the next one. Have a finger heart and stay safe.